bad trip and an odd antihistaminic effect. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome to today's report. Today's report is on 5-APB by VitaminX, who has a few reports on Erowid. And the dose is 140 milligrams, and he did it with his girlfriend. He experienced in the year 2012 and was 21 at the time. So that's all the info we have. We'll be back for a breakdown at the end of the report, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's jump right into this. So, this time I will be reporting my experiences with a fairly new chemical, 5-APB. To be clear, the IUPAC name is 1-benzopyran 5-iopropane 2-amine. I have quite a bit of experience with phenethylamines, 2,4-D, 2,4-E, BK-MDMA, 4-MMC, MDMA, and since I heard very good things about 6-APB, it got me that 5-APB may be a little bit more potent, so I got myself some. My initial trial was with 70 milligrams, where the effects were pleasant, noticeable, but not strong enough, for me anyways. Another time I tried 100 milligrams and had a pleasant evening and no problem sleeping afterwards. These dosages are a bit off from what other people suggested, so I strongly presume that my 5-APB is not 90% plus pure. Anyhow, now I will be reporting about my last experience with this substance. We tried taking around 140 milligrams. Me and my girlfriend, 20 years old, approximately 130 pounds, who I will continue to call her M during this report, decided to give this substance another try in a festival ambience. This may seem unimportant now, but I have to mention it since it's going to be quite interesting later on. The festival took place in June 2012, and my hay fever was very strong during these couple of days. My nose was constantly running and itching inside. I had no medication with me, so I had to endure it, but it was really annoying. We were a little bit hungover because we consumed quite a bit of alcohol the night before, but in the late afternoon, we felt rested and ready for this rather strange substance. At around 10 p.m., we took approximately 140 milligrams of light brown 5-APB via 2 capsules. About 45 minutes later, I could definitely feel that I was off baseline. I could feel a minor body load and a very calm mindset first. This was exactly as it was in my first 2 experiments. M said she didn't feel anything and was tired of waiting for something to happen. In the next 15 to 30 minutes, the effects intensified for me, and for her, they started quite strongly with a heavy body load and feeling of being overwhelmed by what we were feeling. Now, before we get into detail of what was happening psychologically, I want to talk about something very odd that happened to me physiologically. My hay fever was gone. My nose was free to breathe. In fact, I could breathe better than any day in the last 2 months. This effect started very early, about 1 hour in, and lasted longer than the psychological effects of the drug. For me, this was a blissful feeling, and I can't explain how something like this can happen. I remember reading something on the internet about antihistaminic properties of these benzopyrans, but I can't seem to find it anymore. The mental effects of this drug at such a high dosage were, for me and M, not at all enjoyable. Usually, with 70 and 100 milligrams, the feeling of euphoria was the most present feeling, but I also felt very relaxed, even tired. For instance, I couldn't stop yawning. No psychedelic effects were noticeable. It is not possible to sleep during the full effects because my mind is not at rest. I would say this is not a typical phenethylamine because all the others I tried were, to some degree, stimulating. This one, however, lacks completely the effect of giving strength and power and doesn't motivate me to do something. There were also no signs of bruxium for me or M. Talking can be very fun for some time, but I always need to stay quiet and still for a moment too, to concentrate on my feelings. Now with the 140 milligrams, it was a horrible feeling of being overwhelmed, not being able to think clearly for a second, and also a feeling of dizziness and total confusion. M lay down in the chill out tent, and I lay down beside her from about 1 hour 30 minutes in to 4 hours in. We didn't talk much, we just lay there and waited for the effects to get weaker so we could stand up and do something. We were unable to concentrate on anything or to enjoy the feeling of a very light body. Everything felt relaxed, but yet so tense and unsettling that we didn't know what to do. Then, after what I think was the plateau, we went to a music stage and sat on a couch for a couple of hours. M started drinking during this time, and she said it helped her to ignore the negative effects, and she got some nice euphoria. The effects were diminishing very slowly, and we weren't able or motivated to dance. It felt like dancing was too difficult at the time, that we wouldn't be able to pull it off properly, although we wanted to. From 7 hours in to 9 hours 30 minutes in, the effects were wearing off completely, and I felt much better. And I was still awake, but I felt like it would be no problem to lie down and sleep. Since it was the last day of the festival, we still danced until noon. No other after effects could be noticed. The nose began itching and running at around 10 hours 30 minutes in. Another RC. Well, this one actually drew some decent attention, as it does look to be an alternative for empathogens such as MDMA or just general stimulants. And this was actually made with the purpose of becoming a psychotherapeutic tool, but I believe due to either cardiotoxicity or neurotoxicity, it didn't make the cut. But within the research chemical market, it made its way to recreational users and gained the name benzofury. So for the most part, if you don't have MDMA, this could do the job for you. And I wouldn't be surprised if dealers sold this instead, but if I were to base it off VitaminX's general description of it, the stimulation may have a lacking quality. Most people do seem to enjoy it though, but looking at his experience, they clearly both overdose, which led them to the state that they were in. And I haven't had stimulant psychosis myself, but I have had a large amount of stimulant discomfort. I've been in states where I just felt kind of mentally dry with no motivation to do anything but sleep, but you can't. And the experience, I think, is very similar to that state of being. And I've overdosed with Adderall thinking like I would get a strong quality experience, but it just leaves you, pretty much very irritated for the most part. So what happened here in this report I think was pretty standard given the information we know, and as for the antihistaminic effect, I can't really find any sources that confirm that this substance provides such a thing, and personally I haven't experienced this with stimulants or know of anyone who has. So there may have been like some interaction there, maybe due to the change in body states, or maybe it was just the fluke. And one more thing I would like to point out here about this experience is that his girlfriend, M, did decide to drink while coming off the substance, and I just want to provide a word of caution for everyone else out there. Drinking on stimulants, can be dangerous, as it does lead to excessive intoxication a lot faster. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video and this report on yet another RC. Pretty interesting one too. It's the first report of the